Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. So let me get connected with our other network, and then when we're ready to start the session for today. Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body, and keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound, and while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes to become very clear with this practice, because whatever you practice, more and more you have to brush up yourself with the idea that you carry regarding it and make it more clear to yourself. So don't have any doubt. Of course, we're going to have certain doubts on the way, but by the time you have to make it clear. With doubt, don't sit. Or with the doubt, don't try to do anything. Because then that always your mind have to deal with that doubt, and when that happens, your mind doesn't have the capacity to completely interfere with the awareness. So that's why having one mind is a skill that you have to develop. So in a very conventional level, you can do this. Another way we call it one thought at a time, one work at a time, one mind at a time. So through this tranquility meditation, that is what we try to build. So in day-to-day life, we used to do many things with many minds. So sometimes once we addicted to that, and we think, oh, I can do it. Of course, we can do for a certain level, but you're not going to perform your 100%. And you can't develop the ability to bring the highest out of the action. You may keep doing things, and on the surface level, you feel there's everything okay, but it's not like that. So that's why develop attitude to yourself to bring one thought at a time, or one work at a time, or keep one mind at a time. So in tranquility meditation, that is what we develop as a practice. Once it comes to that level in a certain time period, what happens, your mind capable to settle down itself and bring more clarity. So that out of that clarity, you feel more confident regarding whatever you practice. So the doubt always becomes a hindrance. Another thing is, sometimes maybe it is not a doubt, our deeper intention to keep practice can become itself a disturb. So then you have to be very careful about that also. So you have a good thought, you have the good intention, and you want to get more result out of the moment of practice. Because of that, what happened, you push yourself too much. And then out of that, you get disturbed. You don't feel in the moment, but what will happen by the time, very easily you get tired. And that tiredness, when it repeats again and again and again, you don't feel any kind of like a satisfaction out of the practice. You don't feel any kind of joy out of the practice. So then what will happen? By the time, very easily you give up. That's why when our intention is so high, most of time in day-to-day life, we interfere with certain things, and very easily we get tired about it. So then get out of that behavior. And don't depend on your outcome. You don't sit thinking, oh, I'm going to gain this. So you don't look the end result while you practice. Because if you start to do that way, then you get disappointed. Why? That the end result always, once you start to reflect on that, just imagine you sit and you feel so calm, relaxed from the beginning, and then you want to kind of like have the very tranquility state, and then you're thinking about it but in the moment you don't experience it. So then that the thoughts regarding the end result become disturbed, and then the very moment that you practice, you start to resist. Then that resistance itself make you tired. So that also one reason. So then to get out of these things, that's why you have to be very clear with the practice, and you should know how to practice. So then at the same time, with this all the knowledge, you have to put it to action. Most of time we have knowledge, but once we start to put it to action, it's not going to be the same. So in the very conventional level, there are three methods that our life behave. So one is that we gain the information from outside. So when we gain the information from outside, always you have to remember until it comes to in front of your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, it is something else. Once it touch your eye, and once the eye consciousness arises, once the ear consciousness arises, nose consciousness arises, tongue consciousness arises, the body consciousness arises, the mind consciousness arises, it is not the same. It is become completely something new. But most of the time we forget that. We don't see it. We have no capability to recognize that. So how it becomes something new? It is not the completely different experience, and it is not going to be the very brand new experience. So you have kind of like your previous experience, which we call the memory, sanskara or mental formations or the cankers. So what happens in this very moment? So whatever that experience that happened around you, the events happen around you, once it become a contact to your eye, to arise the eye consciousness, it needs the help from the memory. Once the moment of experience mix with the memory, that is where the recognition arises. So then when you recognize that in this very moment of the very moment of the condition of your mind, or the intention, or the desire, or the energy, bring a 50% of the effect for the recognition. So there is a 50% that you need this outside information. And once it becomes a contact, the very condition of your mind, just imagine that your mind had the kind of like the greed, hatred, or the delusion. So in this very moment, what happened? Or maybe it tangled with the emotions. Or maybe it tangled with the fear, unsatisfaction. Or it's kind of like a sleepy, drowsy mind, or the lethargic mind. So in that very moment, you see the same thing. But the thing is, according to the condition of your mind, just imagine the lack of energy can create some kind of misunderstanding to yourself. And then another person next to you, that person also see the same thing, and that person's energy may be more high. So then this both experience the same thing, but in deeper, their recognition going to become two things. So that's why it says, when your emotions high, when the mind is not balanced, don't try to react to something. Why? Because it is not the best that you can get out of you. Because your mind already disturbed. So you can apply it to your day-to-day life. So whatever the situation happens, in that very moment, if you are emotionally high or if you are emotionally disturbed, sometimes you can't get the best out of the moment. You're going to miss something. So hearing the same, the smell the same, taste the same, the feelings the same. So the thoughts the same. And once you recognize, see that you see something, you experience something from the environment, and then you recognize it, it's going to become change. And after that, once you recognize, just imagine it's going to come out of your bodily, verbally, mentally action. So when it come out, that also going to change. So according to the clarity and according to the wisdom that you carry, according to the knowledge you carry, according to the experience that you have, and sometimes your outcome not going to be the same. So then just imagine there is something happen and we see it, and when it come through us, it's completely different. So even whatever you see, sometimes you can't explain to the other person exactly the same way. Even you explain it to that person understand it different way. So like that, when it go to few people, just imagine you saw something and you then thought about it and you say something about it to your friend. And then that person heard it, because maybe that person not going to hear it, see it. So that person hear it and thought about something and say it to another person. And then it completely changed. So like that what you experience sometimes, it's not going to be the same when it come out of your body and when it come out of your mouth, when it's going to come out of your action. Even the thinking process the same. The mental action. So whatever you experience, or maybe whatever you heard, and sometimes when you're going to think about it again, it's completely different thing. So recognizing this process and knowingly, when you experience it, knowingly that you mix with your memory, and when you perform something, knowingly it is not the same, will help you to get out of that hindrance. And then more and more your experience become more sharp and clear. Then according to the clarity of that the sharpness or the experience, what happens, your actions going to become more clear. And at the same time, your self-centered view in the middle start to hold this all and try to handle this. So then what happens? And sometimes then maybe you think, oh, even though I saw it like that, I think it like this way. So then what happens? So like that, always just imagine, even for a one day, morning to night, with our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, we experience things, but we mostly experience our self-centered mind or our own point of view. Not exactly that what happened. So to get out of this mess, what you have to do? Again and again, you have to withdraw from the moment of experience, and rather than mixing with your self-centered view, and let it be the experience. In that way, what happens? You can more and more connect with the real moment of experience. So in that way, you build up the clarity. So when you practice meditation, always remember them. Our primary mental object is our inhalation, observing inhalation and exhalation. So that is where we enter. And when you observe, it is not what you think. So the thinking mind is different about the breathing, and the experience mind is something else. So then drop the thinking mind and let your experience mind to become more sharp. So the thing is, our thinking mind brings us more comfort. Why? Because we repeat something happened in the past and related to our own memory and related to our point of view. And we feel so good about it. That's why we are so kind of like feel so friendly, so good with our own thoughts. But the thing is, even though you feel good about it, when it's going to come as an action, it's not going to bring that much outcome. through that action. So that's why when the action based with the memory, most of time not going to become complete action. That's why it's going to become kind of like unwholesome action. Why? Because the self-centered mind, the mostly related to the greed, hatred, or the delusion. But that whatever happened in the outside world, that event, it doesn't have the greed, hatred, or the delusion. But when we absorb it and become our own experience, it mixes with that. So then just imagine, just you see the sky, you see the clouds. In that cloud, there is no greed, hatred, or the delusion. You see a tree. There is no greed, hatred, or the delusion in that tree. But when you see it and you say, oh, it's so beautiful, I like it. So the seeing itself, also nothing wrong with it. But once your self-centered mind start to absorb it and hold it around you, oh, I like it. That likeness, from where it comes? That likeness comes related to your past. Why you like that tree? Not because it is a tree. Maybe even though you don't see somewhere in this journey, that kind of tree had some kind of relationship to your memory. Maybe at home you had something in your childhood. Maybe you had that kind of tree and it was so familiar. Maybe when you go to school, maybe on the way that you go to work, maybe as a child when you go to the park, in that park that kind of trees used to be. So that likeness come out of the memory. So that is where that tree start to mix with something. And then maybe you think, oh, I want it. I like it. Let me buy it. You don't buy it because of it's a tree. You buy with something else. So like that, just apply it to any event in the moment, because whatever happened in the moment, it doesn't have greed, hatred, or the delusion. Even whatever you experience in the moment, it doesn't have itself the greed, hatred, or the delusion. So then this mechanism, when it go around the memory, that is where it start to get polluted. And then not only that, another part is, once it's going to come out of the action also, it will start to become something else. Maybe you can plant a tree, but if you relate it to the memory and then you do something related to that memory and then you plant the tree, so you don't do it because it's a tree, that whatever it's going to be, give the shade or the flower or the fruits or kind of like, no. You have a personal reason. So then apply it to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind experience. Then you will see how you networking, how you create this web around you. Just repeating, absorbing, and mixing it with your memory and bringing out as an action. This process, non-stop. And you keep continue. And you're rolling it. That's the very nature of the samsara. So then recognizing this process itself is the mechanism of vipassana meditation. So that's why in the beginning you have to calm down your mind, and you have to bring your mind and keep your mind in one point. And rather than depending on the action or rather than that get disturbed out of it, and then observe and see. So when you observe, you have to then deeply see that your inner behavior, how it affects you. When you see something, feel something, smell something, think about something, how you feel inside you, what it brings, what happening to you. Because once you recognize that, it will help you to not to go with it, but to withdraw from it. That is the power. And when you become withdraw or the divorce from the moment of experience rather than interfering with the emotions, then your outcome, your actions going to become more and more and more clear. Because our memory itself means it bias to something, it linked to something. Sometimes we don't know what it is. We don't know from where it comes. So then you rescue that your moment of experience and allow it to be independent. And in that way, you are capable to build up more and more and more clear action. That is where you can build up a more profitable actions. So you can do it. That's where you can change this world. You can build up very complete, brand new life to yourself. You can build up a more better tomorrow for you. People can build up a more better world for the future. So once it becomes your passion, and once it becomes your way of life, what happens? The future of the world going to become changed. Because what is the future of the world? What is the future of you? What is the future of your children? What is the future of next generation? So what you keep doing today is your future. And what you keep doing today is the next generation. So then what we can do, we can make it more profitable. We can make it kind of like a more wholesome action. And that is where your future going to become more clear, and it's going to become more wholesome and more profitable. So then, but if you don't change it inside you, and if you allow it to go through the way that you want, what will happen? And out of that, we keep repeating the same and same and same and same thing. Look at the world. Sometimes we repeat the history. That's how we repeat the history, because we don't want to change this very moment of our experience, this very moment of our action. So if you can't change this moment of action, remember, in the future world not going to change. Why? Because this is the very blueprint. This very moment is the blueprint of the future of the world. So then we talk about the machines, technology, artificial intelligence. So that's kind of things. An algorithm. So why? Because in this very moment, if we depend on that, then that's going to become the future. And more than the human connection, if we are more connected in this very moment, if we are connected with the machines and technology, and that's going to become our future. So then even in this lesson, just imagine yourself. So by the time, if you don't have the effort to have the in-person conversation, just imagine every day if we are just become only comfortable with the these machines and technology. So by the time what will happen, we feel so good about this. And then later, we can't have the human connection. So then we have to understand this. So even though we use this word, when you have opportunity, you have to remember to engage with more profitable something. So in that way, you are capable to develop some wholesome action within yourself. So that's going to become your contribution to the world. So then moment by moment, moment by moment, when there is opportunity for you to contribute something to the world with your own bodily, verbally, mentally action, always be mindful without the greed, hatred, or the delusion. To perform that with the more loving kindness, compassion, with the generous heart. So in that way, when the day comes for you to leave this world, you can leave the blueprint of the wisdom rather than ignorance. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck hit straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. So bring attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say so patveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas or the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. When it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. Your left side. Into your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. Also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chami sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya Dhamma Dhamma Patipattiya Buddham Pujemi Dhammam Pujemi Sangham Pujemi Attaya Imaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadhi Maranam Ha Paribundisami Idamme Punya Kammang Asavakkaya Vang Hotu Sabba Dukkha Pamanchatu. Bless you.